Randall Munro wasn't particularly religious, but he believed in hell. He had to. He was walking through it. The darkness was a living thing, closing in on him, barely held back by the infrared illuminators shining from either side of his helmet. And where the light touched, where his helmet's thermal and infrared optics could penetrate the inky blackness, it revealed only death. Mummified bodies sprawled where they'd been killed, in doorways and alleys and stairwells. Dead over 2 years now, they'd been desiccated by the dry desert air filtering down the ventilation ducts, their clothes still bright and colorful. The cheap flash the welfare class had been able to print free of charge on the public fabricators. The ventilation still worked, but not the lights, not the water, not the food processors, not the elevators. There had been millions of people living off the public dole, generation after generation, and hundreds of thousands hadn't even tried to get out, confident the same nebulous other who supplied them with food and water and clothes and shelter would take care of things eventually. Others had struck out for the surface, sure that the working class would have it better on the levels above ground, or the corporate council executives in their penthouses in the sky. Most of them had died. Trans Angeles had been a gemstone in the desert, doubling down on the stubborn perversity of building a city of millions with next to no available water sources. When the reactors and the desalinization plants and the pipelines had run, it had been a miracle of modern technology. Now, it was a monument to folly, the tomb of nearly 50 million people. But not everyone. Some had clung to niches, scurried into corners like the adaptable cockroaches humans were, keeping their heads down and finding food and water where they could. And others, well, the others didn't have to hide. Like Dante's devil, someone ruled this hell with an army of demons to do his bidding. This particular devil was named Anghari, Tagalog for king, and Munro had unfinished business with him. "There's light ahead," Corey Fondant said, her voice a mumble in his ear through the line of sight link between their helmets. He glanced over at her automatically, though she was little more than a faceless suit of borrowed recon marine armor, keeping her interval 10 meters to his right and slightly back in the front wedge of their double arrowhead formation, only identifiable from the others by how short she was compared to the tawny warriors surrounding them. Technically, he was their commanding officer, but you didn't lead tawny warriors from the rear, not if you wanted their respect. And how the hell did I end up leading tawny warriors at all? He tried not to stare at them, but the sight of the distinctive tiny shock trooper-powered armor made his trigger finger twitch. "Hold up," he called over the platoon net, his voice a surer command than a hand signal in the darkness. 24 tall, rangy figures shuffled silently to a halt and knelt down as one, KE guns going to their shoulders, perfectly coordinated by expert training and unquestioning loyalty.